Hello world, I am Fanny, and welcome to this series where I study a subject for 15 minutes and see how far I can get. So, I guess I'll set the timer. So, first things first, I'd like to try to get a good idea of today's subject, which is the neck. So, I have a bit of trouble with necks just in general, so I think it would be a nice first subject for us to study. So, let's say we have a head here. Okay, this is kind of bad, but anyway, we have a head, and let's place the eyes. I guess we'll draw a skull instead of a head. So, skull, and then just a basic skull. Okay, then we have our skull, and I'd like to figure out how to connect it to the neck. So this is just going to be my first try at doing it, and then we'll see how we do, and then try looking at some reference to figure out how we can improve. So this is just my thing. So that'll be like this. I'll use a different color pen for the actual skin tones. So moving on, maybe okay. 14 minutes. Okay, continuing. Let's just use a bigger brush. Let's just block this in. Okay. Wow. That's not really a color for the skin. Anyway, moving on. First time jitters. Okay. So neck like this. Maybe we can, okay, so we have this, and there, and that's that. So we have a skull, and our head, and let's just plug this in. Okay, so we have a nose, maybe go a little smaller in the brush. Like, maybe zoom in. Okay, so eyes, which would be something like this. I'm really going to be using appropriate colors, but I hope these are with me. Anyway, so we have nose and mouth, so we're not trying to study this, but this just might be good to get it in place. So we have this, and now an ear, and suppose some hair. Please prepare for a study on hair coming soon. So the reason I'm trying to do this series is because it seems like a nice way to just try to get as much as possible in 15 minutes. So yeah, I believe that there's a muscle that goes here, sternocleidomastoid maybe, and then there's like a thing here, usually for the larynx, or Adam's apple in some cases. So there's this, and that's okay. I guess the collarbone would be around there, and yeah. So my first attempt is something like this. Mirror that, see how that looks, and then come in close. So yes. Okay, so that is first attempt at a neck. Now, I'd like to jump into Google Images to quickly grab a reference image. So let's take a look. What is a good reference image? So maybe we should grab one of these for the anatomy. So let's just take this, right click, and save. No, that's wrong. So take this, drag it into here. No, that's wrong. Oh, that's also wrong. Okay, figure this out. No, that's the wrong thing. Maybe we'll just keep it on the side. How about this? Okay. So we have this and our neck photo. So based off of this, okay, based off of this, okay. So let's try maybe reducing the opacity of this layer, and then maybe drag this to the side. Okay, do that. Zoom out, and then create a new layer, and then try looking at this. So we see that we have a bunch of bones here. That's interesting. So many bones that are like so. So I'll use a green color. Okay, so we have our bones going down here, and then it connects over here, and then it connects over here like this. So let's just basically go, and then the neck seems to actually be comprised of a bunch of bones that lead straight into the spine. So that's an interesting point to note. It seems like they don't have these sort of spines. Yes, that's right. Spines like that, and then these bones seem to lead up into this, something like that. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, it seems we are able to do some stuff like that. Okay. Sorry, I'm not really keeping with it, but yes. Okay, 10 minutes or so left. 10 minutes, 30 seconds. So, okay, so those seem to be the bones. Let's try this in a different tone. So I guess we'll try reducing the opacity of this. We can hide this, I suppose, and maybe to like 90%. Then we shall bring in a color. How about maybe a little warmer? green, maybe orange. Okay. And then we'll try to paint in the skin. So the skin seems to be coming over here. Ah, that's interesting. It reaches a sort of drop-off point where it drops off, like it kind of sticks to the skull and then it falls down. Okay, and then the neck is actually much longer than I anticipated. So there's also this bend here. This might just be because it's leaning back. The head is leaning back. So there's this bend and leads into the spine. Okay, then we also have, of course, where the sort of rib cage takes over and kind of guides the skin along there. So it seems to be a good general thing. If you can increase the brush size, that takes a long time. Okay, so this seems to be like a general placement for things. Wait, that doesn't. Yeah, the skin isn't over there. So yeah, that seems to be fine. So, okay, a few things. I made the neck a little too big, so let's try erasing that. Okay, we're trying to find out the ideal proportions of the neck to try to implement into our drawing. That looks like an anime. Let me come like this. Okay, we're trying to get realism first before we try stylization. So like this, come over here. Voila. Okay, so that seems to be the general gist. Maybe we can make this a little taller. So oops. That, and take it up a little bit, like so. Okay, and then go back to our brush, do selection, and wrong color, that's fine, we'll do this color, and voila. So, maybe I should use a drawing brush as opposed to this. So let's just try a standard, like this, okay. So we have the neck, it's a little too small, but okay, we have our let's try black, red. Yeah. We have our neck. Comes in like this. Bumps in. And maybe because of that bump, and then comes, because he's leaning back. And then we go to the neck, and then we see something like this as well. Comes in, and then I think this might be one of the key points. It kind of drops off at like the middle, and then goes up. So if we were to draw a head, it'll be like something like this. Eyes, probably way there. Nose, and then mouth. Okay, so let's try looking at another piece of reference. Wait, if I can maybe just quickly copy this, if I can remember the right click key, right click, no, okay, maybe, I won't do that. Okay, moving on, let's just try looking at a regular neck now. Okay, so we have a bit of neck reference. So this is from, now what we're going to do is try to, learn what we've learned to try to maybe get a bit of a grasp on how to draw actual necks. So if we look at this, you can see just like a regular. Let's try blocking in first. So over here, and then big brush and block it in. So okay, just like this, and then we'll lower the opacity a little bit on this layer. So like this, just a general blob. Okay, then we're gonna come over here and reduce the opacity. And then try and get in some line work. Okay, so this is actually much too big. Maybe we should try shrinking the size a little bit. Hold shift to maintain the right proportions. So that seems about right. And also these legs. Okay, and then we'll come in here and do the thing again. So with our brush, we'll come in and draw like so and like so. Okay. Erase this bit at the end. Quick. Okay, 6 minutes left. Moving on, we have line work. So let's just try a bit of line work on this thing over here. We're going to try a darker color, maybe blue, and then okay. So line work, it's going to be something like this. And it's okay, Tommy. And we're going to, Sally, please be quiet. So we're going to do the line work of this, and if we take a look at this, it goes like inside and around. So come over here, it also does the same thing, and over here, just an kind of mastoid that I was referring to earlier, and yeah. Okay, so if we take a look at the bones, let's try going with bones, and you can see that maybe the bones look something like this. So we have those spines from earlier. they connect into the actual spine of this thing, and we can, I think, that possibly the neck is more like a fan, I think. Might be able to notice that if we look at another one. So let's try going into that. So if we hide this, sorry, I'm not really too experienced with doing that. Very good, muscles. So this may offer some enlightenment. If we look at the muscles here, you can see it goes something like this, just the general shape, and there's that larynx that I was referring to earlier. And then, there it is again, the drop-off. Drop-off from the head, the skull area, to the neck. So why is there burritos in the So it goes up like this, and then it comes up here. So this is the neck. So if we look over here, we have this main muscle. This might be the sternocleidomastoid, and then I think this might be the the diamond-shaped muscle at the back of the neck. So if we kind of highlight those, maybe with red, with this sort of red color, and we can see that it ends up like this. Okay, so we have this red color, this muscle, and then we also have this muscle. And then we also have this muscle underneath. These connect like this. Okay, if we were to paint a color on top of this, so now that we have deconstructed this a little bit, let's try doing a bit of recall. So I'm going to now hide the reference, and let's try drawing it from memory. So, okay, so first of all, bones. Bones seem to be something like, maybe I'll draw just like a line brush. There we go. So we use bones. You can see that. Okay, so if we look at just the bones, we'll lower our opacity a little bit. Or maybe we don't need to lower the opacity. We'll just use a blue color. Okay, 3 minutes. So if we just look at the bones, so let's say we have a skull, and then comes over here. That's the skull. Pretty poor skull, but anyway, this connects downward from the front, and it seems like they each have their own sort of thing. And if we look at it from the side, be something more like this, so where it has that bump, and then comes over here. So then it comes in like this, like that. So we have the spines coming out of this, so that provides a little depth, and yeah. So this seems to be all that we really need to pay attention to for bone. It just connects to the spine, and it connects the skull with the spine, basically. Skull to the spine with like this C shape. So like if we were to draw like something in perspective, so like if the skull was up here, and then we have our body here, we might just be able to think of it as like this connecting C shape, like this. So that would offer us, yeah, like a nice little mental model, perhaps, for the bones. Okay, so that's bones, and let's try going on to the skin. So I'm just going to go over this because we only have like 2 minutes left. Let's go with like muscles. Yes. So the muscles seem to be, if you remember, it's like this, and then like that. So we have the trapezius. Oh yeah, that's right. I think it's the trapezius muscle, which connects from the bottom of the neck to the shoulders, like so. And then we also have the sternocleidomastoid, which seems to be like the main muscle for the neck. We have this little muscle under here, and then of course we have the larynx. A little bit. Oh, that's stupid. But yeah. So if we do that in here, on the side, it looks like something like that maybe. This is a pretty guy, but anyway. Okay. Oopsie daisies, I didn't do that on a different simulator. Well, we'll do the muscles on this layer, I guess. And then after that, we have the front, so muscles seem to be something like this. Muscle sternocleidomastoids coming in like that, more like a fan, and then we have these little muscles underneath. And the trapezius, I guess we can say it's just like the general shape, since it connects from up here, like so. I guess that's like a, I heard it's like a diamond shape, something like this. And finally, over here, if we were to look at the sternocleidomastoid, the muscles, okay, the cool thing I think about muscles is that they bend and they can like become straight and they can bend and do all this stuff, but their starting point and their ending point is always the same, it seems. If they were popping on, that would be fine. So you see it's like this, and if we just follow the shape of the neck, so like a cylinder, so something like this maybe. And since it's like tension, it's like that, something like that, and then these underneath, rings, and then trapezius would be something like this. I need to study that. Okay, finally, skin. Big brush, and then type in, get in the skin quickly. Okay, so something like this, and it comes off, drop off, remember the drop off, bend back, drop off, bend back, and okay. So, there we go. That is today's lesson. So, I guess my main takeaway from this would probably be, if I hide this, that, okay, if we have the neck, if we look at it from side view, using a ginormous brush, full opacity, we have kind of a brush, maybe I'll use something like this. We have this, then I think it's easiest to think of the neck as being sort of like this main muscle, this trapezius muscle, and this holding up muscle, and this thing. So if we have this stuff, I think it can maybe pass for a neck. So these are really big shapes, but yeah. So the point of the neck seems to, an easy way to visualize the neck, I think, is to connect the bottom of the skull with the spine, or the rest of the spine, on the rib cage. So it's more like a backward C shape with a bunch of spine. And in the front, it comes from maybe the back of the, yeah. So probably from behind the ear to right where the collarbone is. So if we mention this as the collarbone, imagine this as the collarbone, which is like a handlebars. See the rib cage, yeah, like this. Then the collar seems to end up around here, so it just wraps from behind the ear. So you can connect it like a cylinder. So if it's a cylinder like this, and here it is, then it kind of goes around like that. And then we have the trapezius, which connects like this. And I think that might be the main muscle that people see. Like if you look in the mirror, you might be able to notice it. That's like, there's this big muscle that kind of connects everything. Anyway, after that, I think it might be, okay, so that's the bones. It's like a backward C shape. Then muscles, sternocleidomastoid, connecting to the front, as well as the trapezius in the back. And from the front, it will be sternocleidomastoid, trapezius. And then you can use that in perspective, so it's trapezius, sternocleidomastoid, trapezius. I still need to probably practice these in perspective, so I might be revisiting next in the future. And of course, there's the larynx. For boys, males, male people, sorry, male people, it might just be like this little, it's probably sharper, but I've heard that for females, it's a little fuller. So it's like, instead of like a big jab like this, it's more like a blob. And yeah, of course, people with high-pitched voice like this raise their larynx up, like if you have the neck, like so, raise the larynx, but if you have lower your pitch, then you can put it down here. So that's just maybe something to note. And finally, if you look at the skin, I think the main takeaway from the skin, I think for today, might just be that the neck isn't like a blob that goes like this. It's more like it goes in from the place where the skull has, like your chin area, comes in and then goes down, which I think was the most interesting thing for me today. So it's like a cliff, just falls down, and the sternocleidomastoid slides it in, and then the C shape brings it back in. So that's a little bad, but yeah. And also if you're bending backward, then we get this like sharp edge. So yeah, goes like that. There it is. So next time, I'm not sure what I'll be studying, but I hope I can see you then. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something today. So goodbye, and thank you so much for watching. Please leave any comments, questions in the comments below. I'll try to respond to them as quickly as possible. Thank you, and please have a nice day. Bye-bye.